Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And I wanted to bring up this article again from 9 to 5 Mac. Demand for Apple Intelligence will drive an iPhone supercycle. And I wanted to talk about this in regards to T-Mobile because a lot of people were messaging me and maybe misunderstood the point that I was trying to make in that original video. I didn't say that T-Mobile was going to be the best at anything in regards to Apple Intelligence. What I was trying to say is, if this is a so-called big 5G use case now, because Apple usually tends to make stuff go mainstream. Apple Wallet, anything that Apple does, it makes people adapt. It makes third parties adapt, and it goes mainstream. So if this is the next 5G use case and it requires a dedicated bandwidth, dedicated network slice, this could be the piece that we've been waiting on in terms of how does network slicing affect the consumer. Right now, we really don't have anything network slicing wise that's really helping the consumer. It's more oriented towards business, IoT, running point of sales. But this could be the first use case where network slicing will play a big factor. And who's claiming to have the most advanced 5G network, the largest 5G network, the fastest 5G network? I mean, on and on and on. It's T-Mobile. So this is either going to make or break T-Mobile, I feel. If this is the next big 5G use case and T-Mobile applies certain marketing materials around it, and they come out and they start saying this iPhone is best on our network, then they have to back up that talk. And they're doing better. As it pertains to 5G, they're going to start scoring better on root metrics. I've already been told. They're going to start scoring better as the testing comes out, first half, second half, and then 2025. They're going to start scoring better. So the network is getting better. But then there's still the talk evolving around, okay, are they spending enough capital? And if they aren't, then are they allocating enough of the capital that they are spending to make a meaningful impact? And I think they are. It's clearly showing in their business results. That's what you have to go back to. You know, there are still lots of debates out there. Oh, T-Mobile can't handle this. T-Mobile is not this. T-Mobile is not that. But their business results speak for themselves. They continue to take share. They continue to win in the market. They continue to post free cash flow. So what can you say about the business? Look at where the market cap is and where the stock's going. That tells you the success of the company. Now, that does not mean that they are going to end up with the best 5G network when it's all said and done. But this should be where T-Mobile shines. We got to call it how it is. Verizon still has the issue with the low band situation as it comes to 5G standalone, the core voice over NR, right? Band 13 to this day is not a certified NR band. They don't have 850 nationwide, so they're stuck. That's why, and I've seen an internal map, 33% of the country is covered in 5G. Because they lack the low band. So if and when, if ever the band 13 becomes a certified NR band, then Verizon will have to climb all sites again and deploy fresh new radios, which is another cost that they will have to carry. So in the meantime, for them, C-band is the new low band. So they're going to densify accordingly to make this work. But in certain scenarios on interstates and highways, it just doesn't make sense for them to densify to the grid of C-band. So then what do? You leave the network on LTE. And that's what they're going to have to do. For the foreseeable future, Verizon will have to leave the network on LTE as you start heading outside the city limits. That's just what it's going to have to be. That's where T-Mobile made the right play, and they got the biggest chunk of 600 low band, and they continue to buy it from Comcast and lease it wherever they're able to. and they immediately moved that to NR. They have the right assets in their possession today to really have the best 5G network. Let's see if that translates. Today, they have the scale advantage. They just do. They started earlier, and it didn't just start in 2020 at the close of the merger. T-Mobile started deploying 5G in like 2018, 2019. So they have a significant head start when it comes to scale and coverage and that low band layer of 5G. Let's be factual, right? It didn't just start with the mid band, it started with the low band. Everything else that's coming online now that's being deployed is just icing on the cake. Like massive MIMO on FDD, continuing to scale and deploy mid band, densification projects, getting CRAN upgraded to N41 and building new ones and upgrading the strand mounts. All of that is just icing on the cake. And it puts them further ahead because Verizon and AT&T will have to go through those deployments as well. They will have to touch their CRAN with the C-band. They will have, wherever they have strand mounts, and they do use them, they have to upgrade those as well. DAS systems, they will have to embark on that journey as well. So T-Mobile most definitely has the advantage still. Permitting, whatever you want to call it, they've been putting in permits a lot, earlier, and now they're getting approval for the strand mounts, small cells, and everything in between. So yes, if this is the next big 5G use case besides FWA, it's T-Mobile's to lose. They will either fall flat on their face or they make it to where it's usable. Will there be additional investments coming because of this? Yes. Also consider, right? Keep in mind, T-Mobile doesn't necessarily have the biggest market share as it comes to Apple iPhone devices. So they may not struggle too much versus an AT&T that has like 80% of their base has an iPhone. That plays a factor. Keep that in mind. So I think for those of you who have an iPhone on the T-Mobile network, I think you will be fine. There is a lot of N41 out there. There is still C-band, DoD that they can tap into as well. And then they can still refarm AWS PCS over to NR. So all of that is still a possibility across the board. They still have plenty of sites that need 10 gig circuits that allow them to get to multi-gig backhaul, right? At a lot of sites today still, they only have 1 gig circuit. So even though they may want to scale the backhaul, they can't because the third party hasn't added the circuits required to scale the backhaul. So that's still happening too. So T-Mobile's network will get better. Even, in October when we get the presentation of where they will be in the next 5 years, 12 to 18 months from today, from the making of this video, their network will be better. They will have bigger scale. They will have more backhaul scale to multi-gig. They quite possibly could get the US Cellular approved around that time, and then they start adding those sites in. So they will be a better network 12 to 18 months, even 24 months from now. But they have work to do. They still have work to do. The low capex doesn't help, but they make it to where they allocate the right amount of money in the necessary areas to support where the business is heading. So what difference does it make if T-Mobile were to spend $17-18 billion, right? The business is successful as it stands, as it's being ran. It's successful. Right, Verizon is spending 17-18 billion, and they can't grow. They can't grow organically on the postpaid side. So you got to pick your poison. T-Mobile said they have the balance sheet to defend their position. They have 50% less debt versus their competition. They spent 9 to 10 billion effectively only on wireless. They don't run or own a fiber network. They don't have all these other business divisions as the competition. So that 9 to 10 billion that T-Mobile is spending goes a lot further. Now, that could change as they get more aggressive on fiber, and that needs to scale far more, and it needs to become a wireline owned operation for that capex to be higher, in my opinion. If they keep it capital light and they don't add a bigger company onto the balance sheet, like a Frontier or a Lumen, they will be fine. Is there a possibility that in October, when they present early fall, when they present their next 5 years guidance for the shareholders and investors, is there a possibility that they guide up on CapEx? Very possible. Their free cash flow is going to be closer to 17 billion this year. It's going to be at 20 plus billion by 2026. So they got some wiggle room to go to 11, 12, 13 billion. So that's all a possibility. I just wanted to clarify my thoughts behind this. If this, like I said, I'll close out the video. If this is the next big 5G use case, the network that has to embrace it is T-Mobile. They're doing the mobile edge compute. They're doing the MEC. They're doing all that. They told us they are. According to them, they're claiming to be far ahead of the competition. So some of the stuff that they're doing behind the scenes, they're not speaking on publicly, but they are investing in that. We'll see how it turns out once this launches in the fall with the iPhone 16 Pros, the 15 Pros. We will see how it performs. I'm going to sit here and say I'm going to assume, because I'm speculating, that this is going to just work fine. In the areas where the network is already poor, of course, you're going to have problems. But for the overall picture, I think Apple Intelligence through Siri on device, I think it's going to work fine. I think if you have at least a connection of 50 megabits, you will be able to pull the weather, the scores, whatever else. I don't see it being a big problem because, one, T-Mobile doesn't have a lot of Apple share and they have a lot of bandwidth. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.